Alrighty, so this is how to figure out the value of a property, whether you're in Pennsylvania, Kentucky, New Hampshire, wherever you are, unless you're in a state that doesn't have public disclosure on property sales, then I can't really help you as much. Like Texas, I'm not familiar, but I am very familiar with right to disclose states. So states where the transaction is posted online. What we're using is all free tools. So we're using Zillow, we're using PropStream, we're using Google Maps, not PropStream. I'm sorry, we're using PropWire. These are the tools we're needing and using to try and figure out the value of a property and then make an offer. So this is how I typically get into it and how I start. I'm just looking for an address right now to comp, because I just, let's see here. So there are 4 levels to comping, right? There's level 1 thoroughness, level 2 thoroughness, level 3 thoroughness, and level 4 thoroughness. Level 1 thoroughness is a basic understanding of the property, looking at some comparables that are really close, and then getting a baseline price. Level 2 is going further, searching the internet a little bit more, making sure no flood zone, maybe even calling a couple agents and things like that in the area. Level 3 is scouring the internet, scouring all the forums, all the Facebook groups, all the crime, anything that you can find online. Everything. Call everybody, call businesses in the area, restaurants in the area, look at menus, look at proximity to amenities, look at everything, right? So we're doing level 1, level 2, and then a bunch of other things for level 3 thoroughness. And I'll get into these later on. Today we're only going over 1 and 2, but I will touch on 3 and 4 just so you're aware of how thorough you should be when you're looking at buying an investment property for hundreds, if not millions of dollars. So level 4 is the ultimate thoroughness. That's going to the property, that's talking to the neighbors, that is knocking on doors, maybe even visiting anywhere you possibly can, driving around, walking around, and not just doing it one day but multiple days. To comp a property correctly and thoroughly, it might take days. And even level 1 and level 2 comping thoroughness can be quite time consuming. So you can easily spend an hour and a half comping a property just going up to level 2 thoroughness. So that's why it's very important to kind of start with level 1, get a baseline to see if it's worth your time to continue to keep investing your time into comping this property, or if it doesn't really look like it's going to happen and maybe you should move on to the next, because there is a multitude of opportunities and properties, so you need to manage your time the most efficiently. So that starts with level 1 comping to see if you have a pretty good understanding of the property and the value of it, and if it's a deal that you want to do. Level 2 is you kind of decided that it's a deal you probably want to do and you want to get a little bit deeper into it. And then level 3 is like, okay, I think I really am going to buy this, and I want to make sure that I'm not getting myself into anything hairy. And then level 4 is, I'm buying this, I need to go out and make sure there's nothing that I am missing, basically. So here we go. So you can use a notepad. I'm going to use a comping sheet that I have here, and this is on my website. If you need that, just reach out to me. I can get you the comping sheet we use, the offer template we use, some of the calculators we use to kind of help us be more efficient and productive. However, you can use a notepad. That is completely fine. Sometimes all the bells and whistles make it more difficult to get started. So notepad or a sticky note is perfectly fine. I have plenty of sticky notes over here too, where I just do small comps and stuff. So we're going to start off with a property in Florida. So this is a seller finance deal in Florida. It is a duplex, so it's got a house on the front, and then there is an ADU in the back. So the address is 3165 Queensboro Ave, South St. Pete, Florida. I'm gonna post that right here. Don't steal my deal. Okay. This is this is available for anybody to look at. It's really going to come down to a relationship-based type purchase because it is seller finance. Okay, so we have you got an idea there. I'm just going to X these out, just because I care about privacy and I don't really want to disclose any information that the owner of this property wouldn't want me disclosing. So we're going to just run comps based off of this. And I have the numbers over here, right? But we're going to be in Zillow. First step is Googling the property address. So you're seeing the property address multiple times. So first step, Google property address. We want to make sure that there's no crimes in the area, nothing crazy going on, nothing blatantly obvious that, I've Googled a property that I was going to buy before, and a video pops up, News Watch 16, and there was a shooting like the night before, and the whole police were there. I ended up buying that property, and it worked out. We made money, but sometimes you can kind of see like some stuff, right? So I do see here that is this on? It's not on Zillow, but it is off market on Zillow. So right here we can get 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,667 square feet, and I'm looking at the Zestimate too. Like I'm not really, I'm not too worried about the Zestimate, but it is going into my brain and I am thinking about it, right? So, hey Jose. So we got 1,066 square feet, and I'm just gonna pull up my comping calculator because that's what I use and that's what I'm accustomed to using. I like to develop systems and templates so that I'm more efficient and that I can. It makes it easier to kind of just get into a routine of doing things. The biggest thing is just being consistent and routinely comping an area. That's how you learn an area. I'm new to this area, so I'm just comping a ton of properties and making a ton of different offers on properties, and I'm learning the area in the meantime. So one of the things that I do is I put the address in the Excel file just so I can pull this up anytime in the future. And this is Google Sheets, so this is free. We use Google Drive. I think you get 15 gigs free cloud storage. Having everything on the cloud really helps because you can kind of like send links to people and all that type of stuff. Like we put our deals in a folder, we upload all the pictures here, and then we're able to share this link to other people. I've had a lot of people ask me about that too, so I wanted to go over that real quick. Okay, anyway, Queensboro Ave comping. Bam. So this is my sheet, and like I said, you can do this like on a notebook or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But this is a multifamily. It's actually like a 4 bed, 2 bath. I went out and looked at this a few weeks ago, and it hasn't sold yet. So I made an offer, and they denied my offer, but it still hasn't sold. So I'm making another offer. So they are asking $275,000 on seller finance. So they are seller financing it. They want a decent down payment. There's a tenant in the back unit, and that tenant probably needs to be evicted. The front property is kind of rough. It needs some work. And this is also right next to a highway. So let me just pull this up real fast. Alright, so this is Queensboro Ave. It's actually all the way over here. So I'm going on Google Maps. So I'm pulling up the address. This is the address. I'm going on Google Maps. I'm looking at all the different things in the area, right? Like, where is this located in regards to proximity of everything else? So it's right by Interstate 275. That's not good, obviously. It's in a neighborhood called Milton Heights, so I would do additional research on Milton Heights. We're not going to get into that on this video. And it's, it's over here, right? So downtown is right here. This is where I'm at. This is, it's in the middle. I don't think this is flood zone. We're going to do a quick flood zone check. So this is another thing you should always check, just real fast. And you can type in, just Google flood zone map, whatever city you're in. So Scranton, flood zone map, Scranton. If you're in St. Petersburg, Florida, flood zone map, St. Petersburg. So in Florida, obviously, the risk of flooding is a little bit different than what you might have in Northeast Pennsylvania or a market like that. However, no matter what market you're in, you should be checking the flood zone, because there's plenty of rivers, there's plenty of different things that do flood, and every town has access to this. Basically, I don't know of any that, like, I've never found one that hasn't had access to the flood map. So if you look at this property is not in the flood zone, but you can kind of see what happens to this city when it floods. There is storm surge when a hurricane hits around here is kind of crazy. I don't want to own properties in the flood zone. Some people are okay with owning properties in the flood zone. I plan on holding properties for a long time. So within my hold time and within my lifetime, they will probably flood. So I don't buy them. So they have to be outside of the flood zone. So that's the first thing I look at when I'm underwriting a property. If it's in the flood zone, bam, I don't have to underwrite that now. I just save time. So this is not in the flood zone. Great. So I'm just going to write that down real quick. Not flood zone. And what is the living square footage here? I know we got that on Zillow before. So I'm just copying the address. And you don't even really need to type. You just have to copy and paste stuff. So 1,667 square feet. And then I also want to look at the lot size. So you could use PropWire. I'm just going to pull PropWire real quick. This is a free property data platform. I don't have an account yet, so I'm not going to go over this, but Jerry Norton just put this out and it's free. I think you get free skip tracing and all this stuff. He's the GOAT. You should definitely make a free account here, and I probably will. PropStream is like $150 a month or something now. But we use PropStream since we've been using it for a long time. And it just makes it more convenient because you have an app. And I haven't tried PropWire yet. PropWire might be where it's at. I don't know. So one of the things with PropStream is if you type in the address, it doesn't always come up. And you have to geolocate it, but it did come up there. Okay. So we can see here the lot lines. So as you can see, there's this house in the front here, and then there's a house in the back. And they also had this lot, but they already sold this lot. So when I initially saw this deal a few weeks ago, I thought it was this property right here and this lot, and I was on that like white on rice. And when I talked to him, he's like, no, we already sold the lot. And he had sold the lot to Habitation for Humanities, which they build affordable housing for people. It's like a church-based thing, and they basically finance homes to people for like no money down, like no interest type of thing. So that's not the best thing for an area, I would say, when you're building affordable housing. As an investor, I mean, I think that's great. I think that's an awesome program. But if I'm buying a property right next to it, that's something I have to consider. So anyway, if that lot was there, I would have bought this yesterday. But that lot is not included. So we're going into the details here. 1948 build. Lot size is 5,600 square feet. Condition, like the back unit's livable, but the other one isn't. This is public water, sewer. Parking is off street. And asking 275, seller 5. So the problem is that they want a balloon on this within like 2 years, or within 6 months. They want a balloon on 6 months. So that's not something that I'm comfortable doing. So my offer will probably be like a longer balloon period, or no balloon at all. So let's look at some comparables. I just want to pull this back up and make sure I didn't miss anything. Scroll through real quick. See, yeah, I could have got the lot size, the year built, all that type of stuff right here on Zillow for free. It even tells me that it's a stick build, which is not the best thing in Florida to have a stick build. So what I typically do, so now we're getting into actually comping, right? So I'm looking for properties that are as similar as possible to this property, and I'm trying to come up with a price per square foot and an overall price of what I can expect to pay. So I'm going to go to Zillow. I'm going to hit sold, apply. I'm going to filter down my properties. And some of the times you might have issues like finding enough properties to comp, because there isn't enough properties in your area that are like that. But you do the best you can. So there is literally nothing here, right? Alright, so I was just comping over here last night, so I already know. I have a pretty good idea of what things are worth. So I'm going to do this mostly for the video. So this is Queensboro F. And we have nothing, no multifamily that is selling over here in the last 12 months, which stinks. What about the last 24 months? Okay, we have a couple more candidates in the last 24 months. So you're not supposed to use old comps, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm also gonna look at like what are the houses that have sold in this area, because sometimes you can get, like, if there's not enough identical properties in the area, like if there's not enough multifamily or duplexes that have sold within a mile of the area that you're looking at, you can also take some single families. I would do this separately. I would take single family comps. I would figure out price per square footage of the single families, so at least you know like what your living square footage is costing. And then I would take the multifamily, I would find as many comps I could do there and do a separate comp, and I would compare and contrast. And I would look at it logically and say, what are all the different exit strategies that I could have here to be able to maximize the price of this living square footage. Okay, so back at it. So I just filtered it back to 12 months. We added single family homes into here, and we can see here that, there's a little bit more sales to kind of go over. So we can go back to this if we need to, but I am going to deselect homes and go back to multifamily, which really, if you cross this highway, it's a different market, right? And we want to find properties that are as identical as possible. So what is this? So 2046 Queensboro Ave. So I could be using Realtor, I could be using all these different tools, basically anything that is on the internet and free, I would want to be using right now to try to figure out, if these properties are comparable or not. So it looks like they have a house in the front and a house in the back with off-street parking. So this is actually pretty comparable, I will say. So we're going to dump that address into here. Let's see if we can find the bed bath count on this. We can't. I bet you it's like the same square footage as our Queensboro property. So bed bath doesn't really matter as much. One of the things that you start to notice is, like, if you're around 1,200 square feet, you can get 3 bedrooms. If you're under 1,200 square feet and there's 3 bedrooms, that means the bedrooms are super small or something like that. And if you have a 2-bedroom at 1,200 square feet, you can probably add a bedroom and make some value add there. And the more you comp, you start to, like, notice those things and see. Okay. So this sold for $357,000. So I'm taking the sold price and I'm dividing it by the square footage. So 357,000 divided by 1,672. That is $213 a square foot. So my sold price per square foot was $213.51. Conditions: livable, off-street parking, similarity score kind of similar, water, public. Sold date 06/2023. I'm getting this from Zillow. See here, 06/2023, and sold price $357,000. So you can take 3 comps. I typically like to do 4 comps. If I can't find enough comps, I'll just run with 3. So on to the second comp. And like I said, this is a baseline. If we get deeper into this project, we're going to want to look at these properties a lot more closely to make sure that they're accurate comps. I looked at a lot of these properties already. So you want to click on all these listings and really go into the pictures and, like, see what's going on here. So this looks like a standard duplex. Yeah, that's a pretty standard duplex. I mean, it's off-street parking. It's not super similar because ours has an ADU in the back rather than, like, a duplex, which might even be more desirable because, like, you're separate completely. And this was 1,000, so 399,000 divided by 1,998. So that's $199 square foot that one sold for. $199.69. We'll round up to 70. You see that number? Well, we want to look at the lot size as well. I have to take this. Hello, this is Jake with House Buying. What is going? That's a cold call or something. Alrighty, so 399K, price per square footage. And what is our lot size? So that first comp we had is actually a pretty good comp because it's on the same street, right? So this is an older build. Lot size 4,4 1.40. I believe our lot is actually a little bit bigger than that too. Yeah, it is. It is. And our property is newer as well. What was the sold date on this again? 11/23. So this is the market has slowed down since these properties have sold. Or crap, I just put the wrong sold date in here. Alright, bam. And I am running late to a Google Meet already, so I'm just going to do 3 comp, but you should do 4, and the more thorough the better. More thorough the better. And once you get to level 2 thoroughness and level 3 thoroughness, this looks like a triplex, so I'm probably not going to use it. And one of the reasons I say it looks like a triplex is because 3 bath, I mean. See that? See how it says 3 bath? Bam. And then right here, 3 units. So we can automatically kind of tell, you know, that's a better property than what we're looking for. I wish ours was 3. What is this? This is in a nicer area. We can't use this. It's too far away. So let's throw 1 single family in here just to see our price per square foot. Like, and we kind of want to get it next to the highway because the noise of the highway is definitely going to impact the desirability, right? And they have this for rented already. I'm just trying to find, you know, anything that looks like similar. So these are, anything in this area is going to be zoned as NM1 most likely. So you're able to add an ADU. So if you were to buy a house in this area, you could most likely add an ADU. So right here, this is a house selling for, you know, that we're kind of looking at buying a 3-bed, 1-bath with an ADU on the back. So we might be able to throw one of these comps in here just to get an idea. But what I would do is I would take 3 single-family homes, I would comp those and find out the price per square foot, and I would take as many multifamily as I could find within a mile, and I would put that price per square foot. And I mentioned this earlier, but I would look at those, and I would multiply that by the subject property square footage, and I would see, you know, kind of what makes sense, and then I would determine an after repair value from there. So all these properties are being bought as single family homes, and then they're being rented out, it looks like. I'm going to use this comp. Man, there's not a lot of good comps. No. That's a nice property. Not good comps. What is this? Yeah, this isn't a good comp. Wow, what is that? We're forced to go with a single family. We're forced. And honestly, this one is like the most similar to the house. So there's a house in the front and then the ADU in the back, like I said. So I even have like a similarity score on this sheet and everything, and at some point it'll calculate a confidence based on similarity scores and confidence scores. And based on how many of these things are as close as possible to what the subject property that you're comping is, the better off you are. How much did this sell for? So this is 1,527 square feet. So 245K. divided by 1,527 square feet. That's $160 a square foot. That's not very much. And the condition of this is great. Well, it's okay, probably. Off-street parking. Sold price was, what was it, $245,000. So just for time's sake, I'm going to only use 3 comps. So I'm going to edit this a little bit. This is all like automated to automatically calculate based on 4 comps. So I'm just going in here and I'm changing my multiplication to take the average. So what you're doing is you're finding a mean, right? So you have 3 different subject properties or 4 different subject properties. You're multiplying all that, or you're adding all that together, and then you're dividing by how many subject properties you have to get the mean. So if I have 3 properties for 100,000, if I add them all together, that's 300,000. I divide that by 3, 100,000 is my mean, right? So you can do that with square footage, you can do that with property price, and everything else. So based on I'm just going to zoom in here so you can get a better look. So I have Queensboro Ave, not flood zone, livable, and then I have another comp here. This is a multifamily, 4-bed, 2-bath. Living square footage is 1667, bigger lot. This is the subject property. I mean, they're asking 275, seller finance. This is a comp, multifamily, sold price per square foot 213. And this is another comp, 217th Street, multifamily, $199 square foot. And this is the single family comp that isn't very similar. And then these are the results we get. So my average price per square foot based on those comps is $191. And my average sale price is $333,666.67. Based on my price per square foot, so if I take that price per square foot and I multiply it by the subject property square footage, I get a ARV of $318,758. So if I fix it up, this is probably about the price of a square footage of living space in that area. And now if I'm all in, right, if I have to fix the property up, I have to figure out what my construction costs are, what are my fees associated with the sale, so transfer tax, closing costs, realtor commissions if I'm using a realtor, all those types of things we want to calculate, and we want to, subtract that from our offer price. And this is how we're coming up with an offer. We make a lot of cash offers, so we're typically coming in, renovating a property, and then reselling it or flipping it to a flipper that's going to do that. So we're already calculating, what that's going to be. And that's basically how we come up with our offers. So if you need this sheet, reach out to me. I can send you this. It's not 100% finished yet, but it will calculate like a similarity score, a confidence score once you fill all this out. And I have found that getting into a system and routine where you're plugging things in, it just helps you not to miss things. So I would figure out. So in this category here, now I'm gonna look basically at all the stuff I have. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. I'm gonna go back and just see what is a fair offer price. They're asking $275K. It depends on how much money I'm going to put down, all that type of stuff when it comes to seller finance. If it was coming to cash, then obviously this would be pretty cut and dry. I would probably have to buy this at I would want to be at $190,000. If I bought this cash, I would have to be at $190, right? Because I would want to fix it up and then resell it, and I would try to get $318. So I'd put $40K into it, try to make $50K after closing costs and all that stuff. I might even wind up only making $30K, which is only a 10% return, which isn't that great. So this is why we have the lowest offer, which this is where I'd really want to be at, but we can see. Now, if we're seller finance, we might be able to hit that 275 if we can do a further balloon, like I said, because we're not going to be able to refi this within 6 months. It's just not going to happen, especially right now in the market because credit is tightening, all that type of stuff. So yeah, this is kind of how we come up with our comps. And like I said, there is 4 stages to comping. This was just a level 1, just to see if it's something that we should get deeper into. So level 2, we'll go even deeper, and we'll make sure that our similarity is even better on all these comparable properties. And then level 3, we're calling people, we're calling businesses, we're calling agents, we're even trying to get CMAs from agents. And then level 4, we're going to the property, we're talking to neighbors, we're going there multiple times, and this is probably the stage where we're definitely going to buy it. So you want to be super thorough when you're talking about investing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're typically using leverage when you're in real estate. So you want to make sure that you're underwriting everything as good as you possibly can. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I hope you got some value out of this video today. Thank you.